On Thursday, July 13th, 2003, Carlee Russell was driving down Interstate 459 in Alabama. She pulled over when she saw what she thought was a young child wandering along the highway. She called 911 to alert the authorities about what she was seeing, then made a call to her brother's girlfriend. Carlee could be overheard asking the child if they were okay before screaming and the phone eventually cutting out. So, what really happened to Carlee Russell? Well, today, we're going to explore just that. It's time to open a window, open our minds, and let the fresh air in. Hi, everyone, and welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. I really appreciate your support. My name is Erin, and I am fascinated by all things cults, true crime, and unique spiritual practices. On True Crime Tuesdays, I like to explore a true crime case, and on Spiritual Saturdays, I take a look at a cult or an extreme religion that I find interesting. And today is Thursday, which means you are getting this third bonus video today. And I'm doing this throughout November and December of this year, 2023. So stick around for that. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. I would absolutely love to have you here. Also, I'm open to suggestions. So if there's a case or a cult you'd like to see a video about, please comment down below and I will make sure to take a look at it. And I always like to recommend a book at the beginning of my videos. And today, once again, I am suggesting you read Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. It tells the story of a woman who gets married to her perfect ideal man, but he ends up being extremely controlling and plays a lot of psychological games with her. And it's horrifying, but it's so good. You really get into the main character's head with this one, and it's scary but fascinating, and I highly recommend you read it. Okay, so now it's finally time to get into this case. Statistically, over 600,000 people are reported missing every year. 89 to 92% of those people are recovered, but they are both found dead and alive. The other 8 to 11%, well, we don't really know. And what paints an even darker picture is that majority of those missing people are women. 1/3 of those missing women are Black women. And I guess thanks but no thanks to what some call the missing white woman syndrome, missing Black women tend to receive little to no media coverage when they go missing. I mean, I'm sure we all remember the case a couple years ago of missing white woman Gabby Petito, when hordes of media outlets rushed to the home of her boyfriend and murderer's family, demanding to know where she was, while there were several missing Black girls who were seemingly overlooked. This polarized the internet at the time, with many people and activists alike pointing out the fact that the public and the news media didn't seem as interested in a missing Black girl as a missing white girl. So it may come as no surprise that when a Black woman, Carlee Russell, went missing earlier this year, people rushed to social media rather than the news media to alert the public that she was missing. The internet was flooded with posts featuring pictures of Carlee, begging the public to notify her parents and authorities if they knew any information. It seemed like finally a missing Black woman was taking the stage. People, especially in Alabama and surrounding areas, were rallying together to spread the word that Carlee was missing. It was refreshing, people were hopeful. I personally remember sharing the posts to my Instagram because although I live in Georgia, it felt very close to home and I wanted to help. I mean, my whole Instagram feed for those 2 days was just full of pictures of her. Please help, please share, please help, please share. People were really rallying together to try to find her. The Crime Stoppers of Alabama raised more than $63,000 to help find Carlee. And there was an over $20,000 reward for information leading to her safe return. The masses were looking for her, donating to her safe return, and praying that we would find her. So, when she just knocked on her parents' door at 10:45 p.m. on Saturday, July 15th, just over 48 hours after she had gone missing. Her family felt like their prayers had been answered, but still, mystery clouded this case. It's rare that you hear of a young woman being abducted, then safely escorted home. So, what really happened? Well, that would be the question on everyone's mind for weeks to come. Carlee was brought to the hospital to ensure she wasn't harmed in any way. And while Carlee recovered from her experience, her mother went to Facebook to implore the public, who had been so helpful in sending out so many bat signals in an effort to find Carlee. Her mother asked the public to not speculate on what had happened to her daughter during the time she had been missing. She even did an interview with the Today Show, but since the investigation was ongoing, she didn't provide much information. She did, however, indicate that her daughter was traumatized and, quote, fought for her life, unquote. And I remember so vividly seeing Instagram posts and Facebook posts just imploring the public to not speculate, and also seeing people start to speculate that Carlee had faked it or that she was just out to get attention, saying some pretty harmful things about her. And I remember being so frustrated with them. Like, how could you say anything terrible about this young woman who was just abducted? Like, she probably did fight for her life. I genuinely thought that she had gone through this traumatic abduction, somehow managed to escape, and then found her way back home. Like, what an incredible story. I believed her story, but her story couldn't be verified by police. When she spoke with authorities, Carlee said that she had been abducted by a man after she approached that child on the highway that she claimed to see. This man then grabbed her and made her go over a fence, then forced her into a car. Then somehow she ended up in the back of a huge semi truck and claimed that she heard a man and a woman in the truck with her, and she claimed to hear a baby crying, without providing much detail as to how she escaped the truck, but then was captured again and brought to a house where she was forced to undress. The couple didn't assault her in any way, but Carlee claimed that maybe they took some pictures of her before keeping her overnight and then forcing her back into the car the next morning. And then somehow she was able to escape again, run through the woods, and then find her way to her own neighborhood, and then she was able to return home safely. And the police tried to corroborate this story, but they came up empty. There simply wasn't any evidence to prove Carlee's story. There was no proof that a child was ever on the highway, even though Carlee's car could be seen on that highway in video footage. There was no evidence that there was another person involved in this crime at all. There was, however, suspicious evidence found in Carlee's search history. She had been searching things like one-way bus tickets from Birmingham to Nashville for the day of her disappearance, if there was a cost for an Amber Alert, and even Googled the movie Taken, indicating that perhaps she was trying to fake a kidnapping due to some trafficking ring. As the evidence, or lack thereof, began to circulate through the media, people began speculating and people got mad. The thousands of people who had been desperately praying for her safe return wanted answers, and they were beginning to believe that her story was just too strange to be true. Carlee's family and her boyfriend came to her defense, urging the public to give her grace. She had been through a traumatic experience and didn't deserve public scrutiny or to be bullied. She was in no state to take on any undue stress or pressure, and it seemed that she would soon succumb to that pressure. In a statement she made to her attorney, she came clean. She admitted that there was no child on the side of the road, there was no kidnapping, and there was no semi-truck. Carlee apologized and was then charged with falsely reporting an incident, and after being found guilty, has decided to appeal this verdict. A jury trial date has been set for March 18th, 2024, and please let me know if you want me to provide an update or follow that process down in the comments below. I would be happy to cover it next year. Now, before I learned she had pled guilty and appealed her charge, I honestly kind of felt bad for her. I mean, if you're faking your own disappearance, you are probably very, very troubled. I mean, who knew what mental state she was in when she, came up with this scheme? I can only imagine that she was feeling depressed, alone, confused, and honestly just wanted to disappear. Maybe something was going on in her life and she just, she didn't know how to move past it. And I can actually empathize with that because honestly, it's a feeling that I've definitely felt before. There have been times in my life where I've just felt an impulse to disappear, just leave it all behind, start a new life. So I can only imagine that there was something she was trying to run from, or perhaps something she was trying to gain, whether it be attention, or maybe this was how she thought she could gain some control over her life. We just really don't know. But it's really frustrating to know that not only is she pleading not guilty despite confessing to this crime, she was found guilty and is now trying to appeal. I'm guessing this is because she thinks she'll gain sympathy from a jury if she has a jury trial, but I think this is a bad move on her part, and honestly, the audacity. The public was rallying around finding her safely. And this is in a society that historically has a really bad track record for caring about missing Black women. People cared about her. And her asking for an appeal only shows to me that she doesn't care or acknowledge that she was changing how people looked at missing women. She wasn't just another statistic. Her missing persons case got a lot of traction and a lot of coverage. And for it to be a hoax only has to be so insulting to the families of all of the missing people that have never been found. Now, we don't know where her mental health is or was at the time of the crime, but I can only hope that she's getting all the help she needs. And my thoughts are with all of the family members who don't have closure regarding their missing loved ones, especially the families of Black missing women who feel like people didn't give a crap about their missing person. It is so tragic that that happened, and it's terrible that this case in particular seemed to make a mockery of this huge systemic problem. This case is a clear example that it's really important to talk to someone if you're feeling depressed or experiencing that feeling of just wanting to escape. Like I've said before, I've felt that many times in my life. I mean, I've even escaped one life to go to another, whether it's ideation or just the impulse to leave and start that new life. Please know that there is always someone who would miss you if you disappeared. I really hope that as a society and a community, we can band together to help find missing people, regardless of their race or how they identify. With that, I would like to say thank you so much for watching. I am so glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Thank you again. Stay safe out there. Goodbye.